Welcome back to the factoring tutorial, and this is the last video where a equals 1. You notice this is not anything x squared, it's just 1x squared. You can still do it the same way as we've done before. I'm going to show you that, and then I want to just see if you see the shortcut. When I do that, all right, 1 and 48, let's do 48. I set up all of my factors just like before. Now notice this is a positive 48, so these are going to be where I add them up. See, I got 148, 224, 3 and 16, 4 and 12, 6 and 8. Actually, a lot of examples there. I'm going to set up what they can add to. 49, 26, 19, 16, and 14. I like even doing that before I'm even looking at what I need to get. Now I look and say, okay, I need a plus 16. So this is the guy that works. And hopefully you're noticing this is the same type of videos I've already seen. Now I can write it then as x squared plus 4x plus 12x plus 48. And again, just like previous videos, I like to highlight this to make sure I did write it correctly, that those two lines are the exact same. And then I take out my pairing. I've got an x out of this, x plus 4. And I get a 12, oh, I guess I'm maybe a little bit too quick for you guys. Here I get a plus 12, x plus 4. Again, group factoring. What comes out of this? What comes out of this? And our whole goal is that should hopefully pair with that. They do. So my final answer could be x plus 12, x plus 4. Now, hopefully you see something here. The two numbers that we decided that worked originally were 4 and 12. We set up the 4x and the 12x. We group factored. We matched. And we have this as our answer. Again, our numbers that we picked were 4 and 12, and look what our factored form is. 12 and 4, or you could say 4 and 12. It doesn't matter which order you put it in. So whenever a equals 1, you don't necessarily have to do all of this part. You can just find the two numbers that work, and they actually fill in the gap of this factored chunk. So let me show you again with another example. So I got x squared minus 3x, or 13x minus 14. You know that it's going to be two chunks. And the only way to get x squared, especially when it's a 1x squared, is if it's an x and an x. Now I'm looking for a number here. I'm looking for a number here to finish the factoring form. So again, you can set this up. This is a negative 14. So remember, now we're looking for differences. Got 1 and 14, 2 and 7. Those are my only two options. Now remember, one's positive and one's negative. So we're looking for a difference, not a sum. So when I look at the pairs here, you get 13 and 7 minus 2 is 5, or 2 minus 7 is negative 5. So remember, one's positive, one's negative. In this case here, I wanted the negative 13x, which I'm going to use this one. Now if I want it to be a negative, I have to decide which one's positive and which one's negative. If I want it to be a negative 13, I need to make this a negative 14 and this a positive one. So if I write that, I could say x squared minus 14x plus 1x minus 14. And this is the same as that. Now before I continue with the group factoring like we've done in the last two videos, I'm already going to tell you what the answer is, because hopefully you see this pairing. If my numbers were minus 14 and positive 1, there it is. You don't have to do any more of the group factoring, only if it's 1x squared. Now I'm still going to show it just so you can trust me on that, but that's the pairing that works if it's 1x squared. So when I do this, take a look here. I'm taking x out of this, get x minus 14. And this one, I actually can't take anything out of this. There's not an x here, there's not an x here. There's a 1 here and a negative 14. The biggest number out of that is just a 1. So the way I want you to write this, does 1 go into x? Does 1 go into anything? Yes. So I want you to say, since nothing's really in common, you can say plus 1 of this guy. Seems a little weird, but it's 1 times x is still x. 1 times negative 14 is still negative 14. This 1 is in a sense just saying nothing was in common. Now if you look at your groupings, x minus 14, that's the same. And my leftover is x plus 1. So with the a is 1, you can do a quick shortcut where you don't really have to set up this part of it. You just have to find the pairing that works, and that pairing goes immediately there. I'm going to show you one more problem. And this one should look a little bit different to you guys because it's x squared minus 36. You're missing something. There's no number with an x in the middle. All of the other ones, it was an x squared, an x, and then a number. This one just has an x squared and a number. We're missing kind of the middle part. Think of it this way then. How many x's do I have since I didn't write them? I have 0. So if you wanted to, you could set this up and say x squared plus 0x minus 36. That's the same as this, because 0x, that means there's none of them. So I don't have to write it, or I can write it. And this is kind of like a placeholder. We still set up the same. Or again, multiply, we get negative 36. So we're looking for differences. I set up all of my pairings. That could work. Okay. I look for differences, so I'm subtracting them. So 36 minus 1 is 35. 16, 18 minus 2. 12 minus 3 is 9. 9 minus 4 is 5. And 6 minus 6 is 0. Now those are the positives. It can also have the negatives, because like 4 minus 9 is a negative 5. So one's positive or one's negative, it depends. Well, I was looking for 0x. So of the pairs, that's the setup that works. And hopefully you're getting used to the shortcut now, where I know it's an x and an x, because that's the only way to get x squared. And the only way to add to 0 is one's positive and one's negative. I'm going to make one of these positive, one of those negative. I'm avoiding writing out the setup for it, because when a is 1, there's a quick shortcut where you can skip a couple steps. And again, if you don't trust me, or you just want to verify, you could distribute this back out and make sure it lands on x squared minus 36. So hopefully these 3 videos helped you practice with factoring to get a little bit more comfortable with taking expanded form and setting it up into 2 different chunks. Thank you.